with certain things that happened on that sort of game, especially in the first half. Second half, we looked a lot better, but that's either here or there. But I'm going to get into it. Obviously, tomorrow night's game is massive. It's a massive game for West Ham United, and we need to make sure that we come out of the traps all guns blazing, no excuses, no uh, papering over the cracks, basically, in my opinion. And for me, I look at this game tomorrow night, Bournemouth, I expect West Ham to win this game. If West Ham don't win this game, then questions need to be asked. I look at like the team selection and team lineup, and it's like that with me at the minute. Do you know what I mean? We don't know who's who, who's playing, and who's not. Lucas, are you back with us?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you loud and clear, mate.
Yeah, I told you
How,
the internet's pretty spotty right now, so I'm gonna try and push through.
no worries, mate. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Besides the weather, I got a little bit sick from Liverpool the other weekend. No surprise because it's an absolute shithole, but we pushed through.
Right, a few things I'm going to ask you. First of all, the main thing is, what did you think of it on Wednesday night? And the second thing I'm going to ask you is, did you see the incident with that lad? What did you make of that? Yeah.
Firstly, I was pretty disappointed on Wednesday, personally, just because I didn't think Liverpool were all that great. And to me, as long as I've watched West Ham, normally for me, well, at least in the Moyes era, we usually make other teams look good instead of like them really like taking control over us. Like, for example, on Wednesday, just the way we set up, which was negative, but I mean, to each their own. People think Anfield's a fortress. In my opinion, it's really not. The atmosphere was quite shit from the home fans, if you ask me. But yeah, I was disappointed just because Liverpool really weren't that great, and we just allowed them to be on the forefoot the whole time when really they just weren't that impressive. The Darwin Nunez goal was decent, but besides that, they hit the post once. I thought we had the better chances.
Twice they hit the post, but once.
Yeah.
In first half and second half.
Yeah, I was disappointed though, just because I feel like if we were just a bit more aggressive, I think we could have maybe nicked a goal besides the penalty. And of course, the penalty was incredibly disappointing because now it's just another shuffle in the order. Now, probably Skamaka's next up. If he starts, he should probably be on penalties. And fuck knows if he misses one, then we're really fucked.
I don't think he would miss one though, Lucas. Lucas, I'll be honest with you. I look at Skamaka, yeah. He's an old school centre forward, mate, who will just absolutely smash the shit out of it. Do you know what I mean? And make sure, like, the way I look at it on Wednesday night is, the penalty miss is a major blow. Don't get me wrong, it's a major blow right on top of half time. But we wasn't good in that first half. We was outplayed. Darwin Nunez scored. He hit the post. They had Fabianski kept us in the game. Fuck knows how many times.
Yeah,
I don't know how many times.
I wasn't pleased. I wasn't pleased with the game plan just because the way Liverpool have been playing. I know we caught them after beating City 1-0, but I mean, Liverpool are where they are for a reason. They're really not that great. Mo Salah, its striker, is a shadow of himself in the new formation they're playing. So the fact that, in my opinion, I think 1-1 was probably the fair result because I think we did have maybe one or two better chances than them, but I mean, you just got to make your penalties. And I have to reiterate, Liverpool is a shithole, and Anfield is the biggest myth going, the best atmosphere in England. It's an absolute myth.
I've got to be honest, Lucas. Do I think West Ham deserved the point on the second half performance? I'd say to a point. I would say, you know what, I give it a go. But I don't really remember Alisson having to make like so many saves to keep him in the game. And that's the problem at the minute. I'm looking at West Ham. I've looked at the last two games, and I'm going to look at the last two games. Southampton away, we draw the game where for 30 minutes of that second half, we was literally camped in their half. Why are West Ham starting so defensively? Like, even against Liverpool, they're starting like Someone said in my chat on the watch along, me and Mitch started watching on Wednesday night, and they turned around and said in my chat, why is it that we must be the only team in the Premier League not to run at Trent Alexander-Arnold? Like,
Yeah, that was a bit of a shock to me. And
yeah,
I am critical of Moyes to a point, and I'm not really the biggest fan of holding on for an hour, 60 minutes, and then trying to nick the match with 30 minutes left. I don't really think that's the most effective approach. I'm more of a it works sometimes, but I would find it a lot more effective if we maybe tried to hold on until halftime, make changes at halftime.
Yeah, but we're playing. For me, we're playing like the team that we was when we was fighting relegation to a point when we're sitting up so defensively.
I agree, and I only say I'd rather try and hold on for 45 minutes rather than an hour, because when Moyes tries to hold on to an hour, he gets there, and then he doesn't make subs until about the 70th, 75th minute, which is way too late for players like Benrahma, Antonio, yada, yada, yada. If he were to try to hold on for 45 minutes instead of 60, make the subs at halftime, and give Benrahma, Antonio, whoever, 45 minutes, that could change everything, in my opinion. But Wednesday was very overall disappointing just because Liverpool don't really look that great. And Trent has been struggling. The fact that we didn't go at him at all really displeased me. And again, I'll mention it for the third time. Liverpool is a shithole. Anfield is a library.
Fair enough. Listen, right, tomorrow night we've got Bournemouth. You're going to the game. I'm going to be covering the game afterwards and doing the player ratings. Right, I'm looking at the stats for Bournemouth, yeah. This is Bournemouth have come up from the Championship to the Premier League. They've won 3, drew 4, and lost 4. Right, they've played Manchester City, they've played Liverpool, they played Arsenal. In that sort of spell of them losing them 4 games, right? West Ham, on the other hand, have played 11, won 3, drew 2, and lost 6. For me, and I don't like to be sort of overly critical of West Ham, but for me, West Ham I feel West Ham are a little bit in trouble this year. I really do. Not in trouble as in going down. I don't think we're at that stage yet. But when I'm looking at teams like Southampton, Leicester, Villa, who have just changed their manager, and I look at us, we're setting up defensively when we should be going against teams. I look at Newcastle today. Newcastle put it on Spurs today and got the win. And I'm not seeing us putting it on teams and doing that in a way.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why. I think there still could be a bit of experimenting with the squad, which is really on Moyes at the end of the day, because we all know how Moyes likes to bet in players. I mean, when we really think about it, Scamacca has really only – how many Premier League matches has he started? He's only started about 4 or 3 or 4.
I'll tell you how many Premier League games he started. You're correct. He has started 4. And all of them –
and we've played 11, which if it was all up to us, Scamacca would have been starting bare minimum by the 3rd match of the season of the Premier League. But we
discussed it at the start of the season. We said, when do we think Scamacca's going to start games? I'll never forget the show we've done. We sat there, we've done this show, and we said, right, basically, what's your estimation? You said Forest. I said Forest. Other people were saying Brighton. It took to the Wolves game before after the international break for West Ham to look at him and go, he's the man. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of pressure on Scamacca.
That's a big thing with me as well, because as you know, I do back Moyes at least till even if he did go on a horrendous run of form, I'd still give him till the World Cup break. But it's a bit weird, because I don't really think you should still be experimenting at this point in the season, but we still kind of are, because like we said, Scamacca's only started 3 or 4 matches. Paqueta has only started 2 or 3 Premier League matches. I think in every match, as a West Ham supporter, every match is important. We can't really overlook a match, especially the one coming up. As much as I'm excited for Old Trafford on Sunday, I really have to worry about the match tomorrow, because that could really ruin the fucking week.
I honestly think tomorrow's game is massive, mate. No, I can't stress enough And I look at Bournemouth's sort of last few fixtures, right? And for me, they lost against Southampton. I'm going to read them out. So they lost against Southampton. They drew with Fulham away, and they was winning that game comfortably. Yeah, until Fulham pegged them back. Beat Leicester at home. Drew with Brentford at home, and drew with Newcastle. So this is not going to be a walk in the park for West Ham. And if West Ham, heaven forbid, West Ham lose tomorrow, I'm worried, mate. I'm worried because what it is, I look at people who say, "Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." They're the sort of people who say, "Don't worry about it." And then when the shit does hit the fan, they're all going, "Oh, we've got to do something now," and they're panicking. I'm not saying Moyes out, but I look at Moyes tomorrow. If Moyes does not attack Bournemouth and get
questions have to be asked, of course.
Questions have to be asked, 100%. And people say, well, "Look what he's done. He's got us to 6th. He's got us to 7th." I get that, but other managers have done better things and got the sack. Like I remember managers like we've only got to look at Tuchel at Chelsea. It was only 12 months ago. He won them the Champions League. Yeah. So it's like you've got to weigh it up for what it is. I think tomorrow's game is going to be tricky, but I do think West Ham if Paqueta's back, we're going to mention about Craig Dawson because we need him back, mate. Like because I don't think Aguerd can come back fast enough. I think Dawson can, but like for me, tomorrow's game is massive, and if we don't win the game, I am deeply, deeply concerned about how we're going. Because this is the way I look at it, Lucas. Right before I let you come in, we have got this is the games we've got coming up. We've got Bournemouth, we've got Manchester United, who we all know we're going to set up defensively going up there, especially the way they're playing at the minute. Then we've got Palace and Leicester, right? So them 3 home games, right? Palace, Leicester, and Bournemouth are all home games. I expect 9 points. I'm not asking for much. You're in front of sellout crowds each week. West Ham should be on the front foot beating them teams. I'm not expecting West Ham to go to Manchester United and win, but give it a good go in Manchester at least. What are you saying on the? What do you think on all that?
Again, well, I'll start off with Man United real quick. That's another match, just like Liverpool for me. I know they're on a bit of form, but again, in my opinion, they're really not that great. We should not be setting up back 5. I don't give a fuck if it's Old Trafford. I felt the same way about Anfield. I don't give a shit if it people will say it's Anfield, it's Old Trafford, it's Stamford Bridge. I don't give a shit. Like the noise can affect you, but I don't care where we're going. To me, it's all about form. Really, I think the atmosphere of a stadium. I'm not trying to downplay it, but at the end of the day, you're playing against the people on the pitch. But Old Trafford, Man United, we should not be setting up back 5 against them because they really still, in my opinion, even on decent form, they're not that great. And Varane just got injured, so they're going to have to play. Well, no, Maguire's hurt. They're going to have to play Lindelof, so we should be going at them at least with a back 4. But like you said, I think tomorrow will be tricky as well. I think the fortunate thing on our side, Premier League speaking, our next several matches we are going against some pretty shaky defenses. Bar Crystal Palace, they have a solid setup, but they can be had. But it's gonna be an interesting next 4 matches because we are going up against some shaky defenses. We haven't scored a lot of goals, but everyone loves to talk about how our XG is high, but
I can't be dealing with that, mate.
I want to see the balls go in the net.
I will ask you that because listen, anyone that doesn't know, or people wouldn't know, we was having a major debate today on our group chat on E20, and some of them,
not just in the group chat; it's on Twitter all the time as well.
I can understand it though. I can understand it. Now I'm going to go talk about the group chat for a second. The group chat between the lads, naming no names. You've got certain lads who are very analytic, and then the other ones who, like me, are very old school. And for me, if you don't put the ball in the back of the net, you don't win games. It really does not matter. Like West Ham could have 25 chances in a game, but if you don't put the ball in the back of the net, that XG means nothing to me other than just numbers. Do you know what I'm saying? I get it from the sort of 21st century type of game that we're in now, that stats are key, but at the end of the day, it's all about getting the ball in the back of the net, mate, and playing the best players in the right positions and attacking teams. The more you attack, the more likely you are to score. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm
I'm not the biggest stats guy, just because I do think stats can lie, and there are people
Yeah,
out there that they are on the women lie, men lie, numbers don't lie, yada
yeah.
yada yada. Like I do think numbers get over exaggerated, but I do kind of understand where people are like, oh, but look at the XG, yada yada, and they're like, that's showing the chances we've created. Like I get that, but I don't care about chances created. I want to see goals scored. That's
Mm.
what's important to me. And
It's like,
if they want to use XG as a example of how many chances we're creating, how many
mm.
chances we should have scored, like good for them. But really, all that matters to me is win, loss, draw, and how many goals we score or concede.
Because the way I look at it was the XG thing, just to sort because it's interesting you bring it up because it's been quite a heated debate today, right, on the WhatsApp group. Now, for me, I look at the Villa game. Now, we all watched the Villa game. Me, you, Effers. We done a show after. We was shit through that entirety of that game, and me and you was in the same camp as me, and I was in the same camp as you, saying that game was filtering out into a draw until we get a fluky goal. Now, people look at the XG and say, "Oh, we had loads of chances, or we look like scoring, like chances created." But we didn't really look like scoring really in that game until
No.
until we did, and it was like a fluke to score that. So the XG side of things, I don't want to see that tomorrow. Like, I want to see West Ham on the front foot, attack minded, none of this negative stuff. But it ain't going to be easy because Bournemouth, I know they lost on Wednesday, but they've been in a good form.
Yeah, to
And
be honest, the whole XG thing to me, that stat to me just shows how wasteful we are.
yeah, yeah. But do you know what though, Lucas? Yeah, I understand that with people saying about us being wasteful. But then I look at certain individuals in the side. I look at players who shouldn't be playing in there. Like, I look at, for instance, Flynn Downs has played excellent every time he's played for West Ham. He's done nothing really wrong. And let's be honest, tomorrow night I'll be stunned if he's starting for West Ham United. I will be, because he should be starting for West Ham United, because I think he's a more progressive player, moving the ball up the pitch rather than back. Um, and even like Ben Rama, for instance, Ben Rama hasn't had a look in really. And I don't know why he hasn't had a look in. I don't like to say about Ben Rama because people say, "Oh, you're going with your fanboy approach." Now I've shut my mouth on Ben Rama and said, "Well, I ain't gonna say no more about it." And then the fan base have started to say, "Well, what's going on with Ben Rama when he's not playing?"
I,
Basically, why ain't he
I
playing?
think I think people, and I'm gonna try and sound this not in a like
Hmm.
a smart ass like way, or like I set the trend for this, but I
Yeah.
think people are starting to come around to the idea that well, I mean, if anybody's been watching the season with their eyes, Ben Rama has been probably one of our better and most positive players. But I think, like I said, I'm not going to try and sound like a know-it-all, but I feel like people are starting to come around to what I mentioned earlier in the year, where I like seeing Ben Rama in certain matches. I like seeing Fornals in certain matches. Like,
Hmm.
for example, against Liverpool midweek, I did prefer to see Fornals in the starting lineup away at Anfield rather than Ben Rama. But I would have loved to see Ben Rama come on at halftime.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
tomorrow is a perfect example. You need to start Ben Rama. If shit doesn't go right, bring on Fornals, and lovely days. Hopefully, we pick up 3 points. But tomorrow is a perfect example of when we need to be the aggressors. We need to be on the forefront. Ben Rama needs to be playing. But if we plan on parking the bus, low block, counterattacking, and we need a bit of quality in like the 1-2 passing,
Hmm.
Fornals should be playing. But
Yeah.
that's my stance on that, as you know, and I think people are starting to come around a bit to that, because Fornals really hasn't been, in my opinion, the same Fornals of last year and the year before.
Hmm. See, I look at I look at West Ham price tomorrow. Yeah, everyone knows I like a bet. Now I looked at West Ham's price tomorrow, and they're massively short to win the game. I, West Ham are a very Jekyll and Hyde side, very very Jekyll and Hyde. 1 minute I look at West Ham and I think, yep, we're back on level terms, we're back up to speed, we're looking like the team that we've been for the last couple of years. Then I look at us against Southampton. I know what Ian just said in the chat there. Ian said we had 24 shots, I think it was, in that game.
Yeah.
But in the first half, we had no shots on target, not
Yeah.
one. And Southampton had 6.
Yeah,
And
to see in the shots thing as well is
mm,
this is the last time I'll bring up anything stats. It's just like with the chances created. Like
yeah,
chances created in shots, that doesn't mean shit to me because a chance created could literally be like, for example, Cresswell passes the ball to Declan Rice, and Declan Rice has a fucking belter from 35 yards out, and it goes 10 feet over the post,
yeah,
and that's a
yeah,
chance created. Technically, that's
yeah.
so bullshit to me. But same with the shots. Like we could have 24 shots, but if they're not
If we
quality
had
shots,
if we had 24 shots and we had 12 on target, then
yeah,
I'll
that
be with
makes
you.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
But when you
We
have
had
24 shots and what was it, 4 on target?
I think it was 4 on target, but I know for a fact because when I was watching the game, I was writing everything down. Yeah, because the system, I just don't like that system,
No, but
in
we
my
should have
opinion.
won. We had 24 shots. No, it's the
Yeah.
same thing with Forest, except
Mm.
Forest, we had a bit more quality of shots on target.
Yeah.
But again,
Yeah.
we played in moments there just, and then like Southampton, we had a good half. We didn't have 2 good
I
halves.
agree,
And
mate.
that's been the whole entire season for me. I have not seen us once play a 7 out of 10. And I've told Mitch, I've told Alfie, I've told Tom,
Yeah.
I've told you, I've told all my other mates. We have played a bunch of 6s and 6.5s. And
Mm.
even after we beat Wolves and Fulham, you asked me, do you think we've turned a corner? And I said no. We're close, but we still haven't had that 7 out of 10 performance. And I don't think we're going to turn that corner until Aguerd possibly comes back because I think he will unlock a whole new aspect of our squad and our side when he comes back.
I'm with you, mate. I'm with you. Moving on, though, to what you were saying about Aguerd, which is a valid point. Craig Dawson, for me, we need to get him back. There's no 2 ways about that. I look at our defence, and it's suspect each time I look at it. Right, Kehrer for me, I like Kehrer, but the last few games I look at him and I think he needs to get over to the right hand side of defence because he's much more. He works better with Bowen on the right. The 2 games West Ham played and won, Craig Dawson started in both of them, I think it was, and West Ham looked a lot better. Do you know what I mean? For me, I'm going to be honest. I think Craig Dawson's our best defender, and that's a worry for me. I look at the other defenders. I look at Zuma, and I don't feel that Zuma. Sometimes Zuma's good, sometimes he's bad. But with Dawson, it's like a steady sort of 6, 7 out of 10 each week or higher. Do you know what I mean? It's never.
Yeah.
I've never sat there. I think I've only ever sat here and done 1 or 2 shows where I've looked at Dawson and I've said he gets roasted. He does get roasted by pace. I will say that, but for me, Dawson's massive for West Ham. We need to get him back urgently if we're going to start winning games.
Yeah, I think tomorrow it's tough because with the news that came out from X and others, Cornet's back. He was back on grass today. Dawson could play tomorrow. Cornet, like I said, he's back on grass, but he probably won't come back tomorrow. So it's a tough one because I would like to try and be as healthy as possible for the game on Sunday. But I mean, tomorrow in our situation, like I said earlier, every match for West Ham is important. We can't really look past anything, even if it's Bournemouth. So if Dawson can play, we need him to play tomorrow because I don't think Kerr has been bad at center half this season. I think he's been pretty solid. But ever since Moyes moved him to right back, like we all wanted, he's just shown why he needs to be there. Bowen plays a lot better. So if Dawson's healthy, he has to play. And then Thursday, we just kind of, in my opinion, Thursday, I know it's still kind of a must win because we haven't technically and mathematically won the group yet, but Thursday should be a wash, in my opinion.
I expect a youthful team out there on Thursday. I really do. I don't expect West Ham to go strong, mega strong. If they do go mega strong, then I'm concerned. Listen, before we carry on, anyone in the chat wants to put a question into me or Lucas, by all means, please do so. Be interested to see what you think, and we'll have a discussion about it. For me, Lucas, let me get to your preview of this before we get some questions from people. What are you expecting tomorrow night, really?
Expecting this
I'll, t-
is tough.
I'll
What
tell
I'm
you what I'm
expecting,
expecting.
yeah, go for it.
I'll
Go
tell you
for it.
what. I'll tell you what I'm expecting tomorrow night. I'm expecting Bournemouth to set up defensive. I will say that.
Yeah,
I think West Ham are going to come out and they're going to have a go to a point. And I do think Bournemouth, because West Ham don't usually play well against Bournemouth at home. I will say that. The first game against in the London Stadium, when we moved to London Stadium, was Bournemouth, and we just about got over the line 1-0 there. And I think Bournemouth might set up in a way to sort of frustrate us and hopefully latter end of the game try and do something. Bournemouth have been very good away from home, mate. Well, they smashed Forest 3-2. They beat someone recently away from home. They beat. They drew with Fulham. They went to Newcastle and drew. And Newcastle are a team who's fourth. Do you know what I mean? So I feel tomorrow, if Ben Rama starts or Dan starts, we've got a chance of getting this done. But I do expect West Ham. I expect a big performance, night game, London Stadium, 60,000 people. That's what I'm expecting. What I'm going to get is, I feel, a frustrating game. That's what I think that I'm going to get. And I'm going to sit here and probably, if we're going to win the game, we're going to win it 1-0 or get over the line somehow, in my opinion.
I, for some reason, have actually, no, I go back on that. What I'm expecting tomorrow, I don't think Downs is going to start, which is a shame because I would like to see him play. But I think for once it might be an okay reason because, Bournemouth do have a bit of a unit squad. They've got some big lads in there. And with Philip Billing in the midfield, I think Souček is going to have to start with Rice, obviously, because they're going to have to handle that. They're going to have to play that physical game in the middle. They're going to have to win.
We're forgetting about our old faithful friend, Lucas, Ryan Fredericks.
Yeah, and he's actually not been too shabby for Bournemouth. And I've said lots of times, and I know Mitch is a fan as well, I kind of miss Ryan Fredericks. I thought he was a very underrated utility player for us. And again, I'll never forget his man of the match performance against Arsenal at home when we lost and he had to play left back, best player on the pitch by a mile. But what I'm expecting a boring physical battle tomorrow because Bournemouth do have kind of a unit of a squad. So I do think Souček and Rice are going to be in the midfield. I do think we're going to possess a lot of the ball, but it's always going to come down to that question. Are we going to create? Will we be adventurous? Will we be creative? Or are we just going to do the same old thing every single time where we just pass it down the wing, put crosses in? Or are we going to go down the wing, play it through the middle? Like, I don't really know what to expect, but I do know Bournemouth, they are a bit leaky. 1-0 isn't a terrible prediction, but I do think there will be some goals in this match, and I think we can score 2 or maybe 3 because I don't think Bournemouth are going to just go down and die. If we were to score 2,
not under O'Neill.
Yeah, I think if we score 2, I think they will try and get one back, and we could maybe squeeze a third on the counter. But it's going to be a bit of I don't want to say a tactical battle tomorrow because I don't think Bournemouth's interim manager right now is a tactician by any means, but he has pulled a few strings. He has had them looking.
He's ex-West Ham, mate.
Yeah.
Gary O'Neill's ex-West Ham. He's one of the players who helped us get to the playoff final and helped us get to the Premier League 10 years ago this year.
Yeah, like Peter said, I just really hope we don't try and walk the ball in because that's when we usually get all the XG shit out, the fucking chances created. I don't want to see that. I want to see us when we have a chance, we just take it.
Yeah. Give me a prediction for tomorrow then. What are you saying? Scoreline.
If we go with the lineup, I'm thinking if we go Fabianski, I do think Dawson will play. I do think he's going to play. I think he will be fit. So I'm going to go Fabianski, Kerr, Zuma, Dawson, however you want to put it. And then I think Cresswell will probably play because he hasn't been too shabby the past few weeks going forward. Still slow, still really not doing much for me, but defensively he has been solid. I do think we'll see Rice and Souček, and then hopefully we see Ben Rama. We might see Lanzini tomorrow if Paqueta doesn't play, which I wouldn't really mind, but Lanzini
I don't know about that.
Too great.
If I don't see Ben Rama starting tomorrow, I say Paqueta doesn't play, and Ben Rama's sitting on the bench, I'm going to look at it and think there is an agenda there with him all day long.
It wouldn't be great. So we could see either Fornals and Ben Rama or Ben Rama and Lanzini, and then obviously we'll see Bowen and most likely Scamacca. And if we go with, I'll call it Fornals, Ben Rama, Bowen, and Scamacca as our front four, our attacking options. I think I'm gonna go 2-1, and I think we'll go 2. Actually, no, I'm gonna go 3-1 because I think we're gonna go 2-0 up. Bournemouth will try and bring one back. We'll bang them on the counter, and then they'll score some shithouse goal with like 15 minutes left. So I'm gonna go 3-1.
3-1 for you. I'm gonna say,
and we're due to score. We're due to score some goals, in my opinion.
I'm gonna say 1-0. Could be 2-0. 1-0 or 2-0 for me. I just think I don't think West Ham will concede in this game. But I think it's going to be tough. I'm going to look at for my West Ham sort of hat that West Ham need to perform in this game. If we're going to do anything in this game, West Ham has to perform, and it's as simple as that. And if we do, we get the right result and positive result. Right. Let's answer these questions. Yes or no tomorrow, Lucas? Will Fornals start tomorrow?
I have such a weird feeling that we're going to see Lanzini in the hole. Ben Rama out on the left, but if I was a betting man, I would say Fornals starts tomorrow, probably in the hole.
Yeah, I think Fornals does start tomorrow, mate. Question for you both: if we get a penalty tomorrow, who should take it? For me, this is a simple one: Scamacca.
It's got to be Scamacca now. The deck has been shuffled once again, and I hate it because. What is up with these English players? They all love to go bottom left, keeper's right. They all love going there. Rice goes there. Bowen goes there.
It was so predictable.
Kane goes there. Every English person loves to go bottom left, right.
Well, it was literally, it was just so predictable for me. For me, it has to be Scamacca. He's a natural born finisher. He hits the ball very, very hard with authority.
Or Cresswell. Cresswell's not bad on penalties.
Or Craig Dawson, mate, because he don't miss penalties.
This whole thing is so annoying because everyone criticized Rice because he missed one, and then obviously Lanzini's very good on them, but he hasn't been playing. And then Jared Bowen bangs one in, but then he misses one. So I mean, we could see Bowen get one more chance at them, but I want to see Scamacca on him because he looks like he just means business. And he doesn't look like he's going to try and be cute. Not saying that Bowen is trying to be cute, but I think he's more worried about where it's going to end up than actually just scoring, if that makes sense.
I agree, mate. Ian says, will we score in the first half? For me, that's a poor stat in itself.
I think we'll break the spell tomorrow. I think we will.
I think we've only scored against Wolves. The only games that we've scored first in are Wolves and Fulham, I think, if I remember rightly. That's the 2 games we've won. Other than that, we ain't scored in the first half. All the other games have been second half. That needs to improve. We'll say that. Let's have a look. What else we got? What do you make of this? Two bloody keepers on the bench yet again, which says it all. What do you make of that on Wednesday? 2 keepers on the bench. No youngsters given.
Just a Moyes special. He does it all the time, and I don't know why.
It's madness, mate. Madness for me. When I look at him, and I look at other players. You're telling me we ain't got a young player that can come on and like give him some youth experience. Darren Randolph, mate, he must be the only goalkeeper who still living. He literally just sits on benches for that's his life now. Sits on benches. So that's another one I really, really don't
Can't even
get.
make it to the team photo.
Yeah, and he's photoshopped in very, very well. We are due to fresh someone. It could be tomorrow. Do you think
that's what I'm thinking. Just because we haven't scored that much this season, everyone keeps talking about we're fourth in the XG table.
Yeah.
So I think we are due to score some goals tomorrow. I think we haven't scored 3 yet this season, have we?
No, I've scored 3 once this year.
Yeah. So
against,
I think
Fulham.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, I think Bournemouth are a bit shaky in the back. They do concede. I think tomorrow we could have I'm not going to say a party, but I think we're going to see some good chances tomorrow, and hopefully things go our way and they go in.
I'm going to ask you a question, Lucas, to sort of round it up, If West Ham lose tomorrow or fail to win, where does that leave Moyes? Because for me, I'm going to be honest, when I say this, because I try and keep my shit real, When I look at the 11 games that we have played, and I've covered every game from start to finish. I've watched near enough every game. I've spoke about every game after to do it on this channel. And for me personally, I've not seen West Ham play well this season once, really, if I'm being honest. Maybe the Wolves game, but even in the Wolves game, in the first 20 minutes, we was getting pummeled by them. And if they would have scored, then it could have been a completely different game. I look at the Fulham game. The scoreline doesn't reflect the game as a whole. I think West Ham could have easily been 2-0 down if Dan James don't hit the crossbar. Do you know what I mean? And it's only because he hit the crossbar, he sort of kicked us into life to say, you better sort yourselves out or we're going to lose this one. Like, for me, I'm worried in regards to the situation. I think a lot of fans, now, I'm not going to speak for every fan, but I think a lot of fans will go, look what he's done in the last 2 years. He's finished 6th, he's finished 7th. I get all that, totally. Right, I really do. But you can't not sit there and say that what you're seeing and going to places like Southampton away and playing 5 at the back, playing 5 at the back against Villa away and getting away with it just, you can't tell me that we couldn't find another manager who could do a better job than what he's doing right now. Because if this would have been Allardyce, Pellegrini, people would have been going berserk. And yes, he's got a 6th, he's got a 7th, but one of them was in a global pandemic with no fans. And last year we should have finished 6th. We bottled it, really. Last day of the season, we beat Brighton, we finished 6th. And we end up finishing 7th. So what do you think tomorrow in regards of, like, if this doesn't go our way tomorrow for any reason?
I would say anything besides a win, in my opinion, would be pretty disappointing. But I personally, I don't really like to judge things until about halfway. So for me, I think if we lose, I don't really blame for people asking questions or criticizing, yada, 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 because it is our club. We do have the right to do that. But I personally don't like using the term credit in the bank, but I just feel like after finishing 6th and 7th, we haven't had the hottest starts. I do think he has time to turn it around, but everyone, their preference of time is so much different to everyone else's. Like me, World Cup break for me, because what is that? That's 19 matches, I think, or 18.
Yeah.
So for me, that will be a good point where I can probably judge the rest of the season, because really typically it's hard to go halfway into the season and then like really do a complete 180. You can go on a run, but it's really hard to do a complete 180 and just become an absolute like super team. So I think I would give Moyes till then, but to be honest, anything other than 3 points tomorrow would be disappointing, because we've got the better players.
Hmm.
Moyes is a good manager, in my opinion, and we need 3 points. If we don't get 3 points, I'll be disappointed. If we get a draw, I'll still be disappointed because, I mean, when you just look on paper, even when you look with the eye, like we
Yeah.
should be beating them bare minimum 2-0.
See, the way I look at it is it's like this. I'm just looking at the fixtures because I've got my iPad here, right? I'm going to read them out to everyone so everyone can hear what I'm saying, right? We've got Bournemouth tomorrow. Then we've got Silkeborg, Manchester United, FC SB on the 3rd of November. Then we've got Crystal Palace at home, a team that we don't very rarely beat them at home. Like, we haven't beaten them for 5 years, I think it is, at home. And that's always for me, as a betting man, that's a banker draw for me every year. Every time I do West Ham versus Palace, I look at banker draw. Yeah. Then we've got West Ham Blackburn in the Cup. That ain't going to be an easy feat. Blackburn are flying in the Championship. And obviously we're at home, so that's in the League Cup. Then we get to sort of the last game before the World Cup, which is Leicester, which Leicester last 2 games have played pretty okay. They've done really well today. Then when we come back from the World Cup, in Christmas time, we've got 2 London derbies. We've got Arsenal away, Brentford at home. Arsenal away, that might be the best time to play them. Yeah, I will say that after the World Cup because we're going to get them when they're cold and they're all coming back. Then we've got Brentford at home, who we didn't play well last year against them. Both games, I watched them games, and especially at their gaff, it was one of the worst performances I've seen West Ham play for a long time. Yeah. Then I'm going to go into January. Yeah. January we've got Leeds away, Wolves away, Everton at home, right, and that's for January. And in February, I'll just read the February ones out. We've got Newcastle away, Chelsea at home, Spurs away, Nottingham Forest at home. So when I look at the fixtures, and I look at what we've got to do, we've got to start winning games now. Like the next 4 games for me, I agree with you, will show where we're headed. People say, oh, you can't really judge the table after 11 games. Yeah, you can really, because Manchester City look like they are where they are. Arsenal look like where they are.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, when you look at the table right now, let's be honest. Liverpool are not going to finish where they're going to finish. Bournemouth are not going to finish where they're at. Leicester, for all we know, they could do better or worse. To me, 11 matches in, there's still a lot of uncertainty, and there's a lot. Even Fulham is not going to finish where they're at.
Yeah, but the way I look at this, though, Lucas, I'm looking at the table now, Forest bottom, which is good to see, right? Then you got Wolves, then you got Leeds, and then you got us, right? It's embarrassing, really, because I'm looking at the table, and people say, we can go 10th, right? But we're only 2 points behind Forest and Wolves.
That's why I love this club. One win, we're top half.
That's what I'm saying. 1 win and we're up there. So I'm going to be honest. Tomorrow's game is a big game.
And if no one, and like I said, in West Ham United is a supporter. Literally every match is important. And if you're looking over matches into the next one, that's just you're at the wrong club. You're playing the wrong game.
What do you think, Lucas? Of the people who are crying at the minute for Moyes to go, because I'm a sort of person. I look at them and people who are Moyes in, like the Moyes in brigade. The way I look at it is they won't have a bad word said about Moyes. They will always bring up the 6th and 7th thing all the time, which I understand that. I get that, but what someone just said there, it's about the here and now, and at the minute. It is for 170 million that's been spent in the fucking window. We look worse, and we shouldn't look worse. For me, as a West Ham fan, we should be sitting on 18 points. Really, if I'm being honest, when I look at Fulham, who are above us, massively above us, we should be on 18 points. Where West Ham are, the team that West Ham have, what they've made, everything. That's where West Ham should be. And when I look at who we've played, right, we should have nicked points off teams. Like I look at the Brighton game, right, and people use the Brighton curse as an excuse for a loss. And I'm thinking, I mean, he's getting the real well. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
what do you think really on that?
Like I said earlier, I know we spent all this money, but
Yeah,
again, at the same time, I think it's a bit silly to yes, we spent 170 million, but it's almost like people forgot who our manager is. There was no shot
yeah,
that Moyes was going to get these guys rolling
yeah,
like immediately after the window was done or when everything started, because we all know Moyes. He brings in players and he beds them in.
yeah.
And really, if we go off history, we probably are not going to be rolling or near our full capabilities until the World Cup break. Because, like we
Mm,
said earlier, Scamacca has only started 4
yeah,
or 3 Premier League matches. We're 11 matches in, and
mm,
we were all begging for him to start at Forest. And obviously, he was doing well in Europe or in the Conference League, and thankfully that boosted him a bit to start probably earlier than what Moyes wanted to. And even with Paqueta came in late in the window, new league, new everything.
but
Same
do
with
you know what though?
Scamacca.
You
Just
saying about
I
Paqueta?
just think it's not
Yeah,
everyone wants it to happen right now when in reality me personally, I did not expect us to
yeah.
roll as soon as these players came in because I just know what Moyes is like. And with the whole Moyes in, Moyes out thing, I just think, like I said, I'm not a credit in the bank guy, but I am
Yeah,
also a real. I don't like to use the word realist because I think everyone is allowed to have an opinion, and I don't want to
yeah.
say anyone's opinion is shit. But like, we're 11 matches in to a 40 plus match season. If you want Moyes out after 11 matches, I just think that's absolutely silly, especially where everyone's at in the table.
I don't know, Lucas.
There's people
I don't.
calling for Klopp out, which I
Yeah,
fucking hate that guy, but that's fucking stupid.
I can't. Yeah, but that's neither here or there. Now, I'm going to say this. All right, after 11 games, it's a 38 game season. Yeah. The problem I have, which I've just heard what you just said, and this could like spark a little bit of a debate here, is I've not seen us play well in them 11 games. I don't look at us and go, wow, that game against such and such, we played mint. Like we was absolutely like fucking top class West Ham United Football Club. I've not seen it this year. I've not seen it like against Forest. Yeah, we're everything other than the back of the net. Now, people, you can't keep saying that we're getting unlucky in games
I
when
agree.
so
I absolutely hate hearing that.
yeah, I mean, like when people say, "Oh yeah, but we was unlucky," we was unlucky. Like, I look at the Brighton game, yeah, and when I do look at the fixtures that West Ham have played and the games that West Ham have played, some of them we've just completely let go, just completely let go. Like, I look at even the Wednesday night game, right? I look at Liverpool on Saturday, and they're a shadow of themselves. Do you know what I mean? Forest nick it, and like, right, I'm going to read out the games that West Ham have played this year. Yeah, Man City 2-0 loss at the start of the season. Right, for 2 minutes of that game, we was good. Best of it, they completely kicked our ass. Yeah, so I can let that one go. Right, with City because Manchester City are Manchester City. Then we played Forest on the 14th of August. Right, we
Ditto.
everything. Yeah, we everything other than the back of the net. Now I get that, right? We was unlucky in that game. We missed a penalty. I think we hit the crossbar or post or something. I get it. Yeah, we was unlucky. Then the game against Brighton was the one where I look at it and I think you're in front of your home fans, and Brighton just turned up there and had a kickabout in Stratford. In my
Yeah.
opinion, that's what it felt like to me watching that game. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, what is going on with this? Right, we're supposed to be going up to, we're supposed to be competing for top six. If you can't put Brighton away at home, then we've got problems, right? Really. And then we go to Villa, yeah. Now, as I've mentioned previous in this stream, right? We played Villa in the first half. We didn't have a shot on target in the whole of that
We were
first half.
fucking horrible.
It was an absolute horrible first half, yeah. He played 5 at the back with wing backs, and it did not work. All right, we nick a goal through Pablo Fornals, nick a goal, well, not score one. It was like a fluky goal that sets us on our way. Yeah, we end up winning the game 1-0 at Villa. Then we play Tottenham. Yeah. Now the Tottenham game is a Jackal and I game for me as a West Ham fan. First half, I felt West Ham were waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
They was waiting. They was waiting for Spurs to do something. Then West Ham was going to attack, sort of thing. Yeah, I'll never forget that game because I watched that first half and I was fuming. I was like, "What are they waiting for?" It was so frustrating. Second half, it was one of the best performances I've seen West Ham play for a while. They completely just backed Tottenham back, and we should have won that game. If Jared Bowen is there on time at the end of that game against Spurs, we win the game 2-1, and we would have been over the moon with that. Then we played Chelsea, yeah? Now, take the VAR out of it for a second, right? Just for 1 second, yeah? The first half of that game, we do not have one shot on target in the first half. I know because I covered it, and I've written everything down, and I was monitoring what they was doing, yeah? No shot in the first half against Chelsea. This is a Chelsea under Tuchel, who had just lost against Kiev, I think, or Zagreb, I think it was, on the Wednesday, I think it was, yeah? So, or they'd lost against someone previous. I think it was Leeds or someone. I can't remember who it was precisely. Anyway, I played Chelsea, and for me, West Ham got the goal and then decided just to shut up shop and try and defend it out. And it was only because of Fabianski's error. Let Chelsea back in. They score another goal, and then the VAR. Now, the VAR, yet again, covers over the cracks of what was happening before that. So, that was Chelsea. Got unlucky, didn't get the right result that we wanted. Yeah. Then we had, obviously, we're supposed to have Newcastle, but the Queen's passing. All right. Then we played Silkeborg. Right. I'm just going to use this one game, Silkeborg, right? Because I'm not going to bring it into every other game. The Silkeborg away game, we all done a watch along on that. Yeah. And West Ham were terrible. Right. West Ham were terrible. West Ham should have been at least 2-2 in that game. Right. Silkeborg were all over us. They scored first. We go 2-1 up. They should have had a penalty. I remember it clear as day. And we end up nicking the game yet again 3-2. And it could have been a 3-all freaking draw against Silkeborg away, right? Then we go and play Everton away, right? Now, for me, Everton were in a really bad run of form. Lampard was under pressure. They weren't scoring. They play West Ham. We go up there and we do nothing. We do nothing against Everton. If someone can tell me what we really did against Everton away, I'd like to hear it. I think it was just poor. Paqueta was poor. Fornals was poor. Scamacca didn't start yet again. It was on Antonio. We lose the game 1-0. Then we have the international break, right? West Ham decided to change it all around because Moyes is massively under pressure. Yeah, for me, if he plays Antonio against Wolves and we lose the game, I think he's in the firing line big time. Yeah, big time. We beat Wolves 2-0. 20 minutes of that first half, we was poor. In the first half of that game, we was poor in the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes. We get the goal through Scamacca that calms us down. Jared scores a second goal early in the second half, and then West Ham see the game out 2-0. And Wolves didn't really do a lot after that, yeah? So that's the Wolves game. So really, that's our sort of second victory of the season, first victory at home, right? We play Fulham at home, yeah? Now, for me, this is the game which papers over the cracks big time for me. We go 1-0 down. Dan James hits the crossbar. We get a penalty, which is definitely a penalty for me. Then we sort of nick 2 goals through a lot of luck. Scamacca, is it handball? Ain't it handball? We get the rubber green on that one, yeah? And obviously the Antonio goal seals the deal.
That was a double-edged sword. It was either a goal or a red card.
Right, so that's the handball. So the scoreline looks better than the actual performance, right? Because really, in the first half, Fulham were smashing us to bits. First 20 minutes of that game, up until the penalty, Fulham were fucking kicking our ass completely, yeah? Now, we go to Southampton, right, which was only a couple of weeks ago. Now, for 60 minutes of that game, West Ham was shite. We had 24 chances or shots in the whole game, but we had 4 on target. We had no shot on target in the first half against Southampton away. This is a poor Southampton side who haven't won a game in 4, right? So for me, I'm looking at it, right, go to Southampton, start on the front foot, attack this team. We don't attack. We set up 5 at the back again, I think it was.
Better atmosphere than Anfield, by the way.
Yeah.
Family.
Right. And then for 30 minutes of that game, in the second half, it was camped in their half, right? And then the last game was Liverpool. Now, on the one hand, I look at the Liverpool game, and I can understand if West Ham would have went up there and set up 5 at the back to try and contain Liverpool to a point, then attack, I get it. But the other night it was just poor, like even, and we should be going up a level. We should be at a level where we're competing with these teams. We are competing with these teams, but we're losing the games. Like I look at Newcastle today, and I look at Newcastle quite clearly. Yeah, Newcastle are playing Manchester City at home, drew 3-3. They played Liverpool away. They won. They lost 2-1, but they got robbed in that game massively. They've been to Spurs and won. They've been to Old Trafford and not lost. And I just don't see it with West Ham against the top 6 sides. We're good against the lower ranked sides at home. I expect West Ham to beat them teams all the time. But against the higher ranked sides, and someone said it in my chat the other day, West Ham took 2 points from a possible 57 against top teams at their ground. That's not good. That's not good in my opinion. So that's what my assessment is on that, Lucas. If you can tell me yours.
Yeah, I mean, I think just in regards to Moyes, I think he has shown that he can do change because, like we said,
Yeah.
I mean, he moved Kerr to right back, which, in my opinion, we talked about this probably about three-ish weeks ago, where there's 3 or 4 like major changes that Moyes could probably do. It was move Kerr to right back, Scamacca starts, Flynn Downs in midfield over Souček, and then if you like, Emerson over Cresswell. He did 2 of those. Flynn Downs is starting to feature a bit more, which we could see start to unfold. So I think he has shown that he is willing to change, and
Yeah.
I do think if we do lose tomorrow, which I'm very confident we won't, but right. I do think it's hard for me not to say that the panic button won't be hit, but I still, just with everything going on, the way the table is, I just feel like there's time to turn things around. But I mean, I can't really defend anybody that criticizes them because, I mean, it's not like it's unfair because we should be beating Bournemouth. We should be beating Southampton. We should have beat Nottingham. We should be farther up the table than we are, but it's just the slow starts that kill us. We've all seen the pictures, the stats, and everything from Roshane that we're pretty much the worst first half team in the Premier League, and we're a lot better in the second half. And I do think Moyes has the ability in himself to change. Like I said,
is that on the, just to cut in there? Is that on the players, or is that the management? Oh,
I think it's both. I think there's things that Moyes can change, and then the players have to step up. Like the whole XG thing, that's on the players to me, in my opinion, because they're not finishing their dinner. And then there's things that Moyes can obviously change, like Kerr to right back, Scamacca starting, and then the way we set up, like things like that. And like I mentioned earlier, I think Moyes has the ability to change. I think Moyes is smart enough that he can take a look and be like, you know what? I think trying to hold on for 60 minutes is a bit too long. Maybe if I try and hold on to 45 or 50 and then make the changes, maybe something different can spark. And that's if he's put under pressure, obviously. But yeah, it's a tricky one. It really is, because really, like I said, we've put in a bunch of 6 and 6.5 performances, because all season long so far, we've either played shit or great in the first half, or we've played decent or mediocre in the first half and then just been shit in the second. We haven't put 2 halves together, which I think tomorrow, I think we will put 2 halves together tomorrow, have a good match. And then I tweeted this the other day. I think once Aguerd comes back, which I think I have seen that he could feature on Thursday, but he probably won't play his first Premier League match until after United. Me personally, in my opinion, I think once Aguerd is back and he starts, that's when I think, obviously depending on results, I think that's when we're going to turn the corner. And of course, in typical West Ham fashion, as soon as we turn the corner and we hit a stride, World Cup break.
Mm. I agree. I think when Aguerd does come back, I think West Ham look 10 times better. I don't say that lightly. I think as
That's
soon as
why. That's
yeah,
why for me, I think no matter what, and like I said, it will be hard to defend that if we do
mm,
lose tomorrow. But at the end of the day, Moyes does not have a fully fit team. If Moyes had Kara right back, Zuma center half, Aguerd other center half, Cresswell or Emerson there, and
mm,
then obviously he has all of his other preferred positions. I really do think it's a complete different team, and it obviously
yeah,
it does feel a bit silly to say that when really all we're missing is Aguerd. But Aguerd, as we all know, one player, no matter where they play, right back, left back, center half, striker, right wing, it doesn't matter. One
mm,
player can make the whole difference to a starting 11. And I think, in my opinion, once Aguerd comes back and you put our best 11 out there,
mm.
he's going to make a world of change. And hopefully, Moyes will be around for that. And hopefully, we will see about 2-3 wins once he comes back. And then, of course, in typical West Ham fashion, we will hit our stride right when there's a break, and then we'll come back, start slow again, and hopefully get into another stride.
I'm going to ask you this, yeah, before we go. Yeah, this is the last question of the evening. Do you think a lot of West Ham fans are pinning their hopes on us winning the conference and don't really take into consideration that the Premier League is really important? For me, I see it on social media quite a lot. Don't worry, it doesn't matter where we land this year in the league, as long as we win the conference. Now, what I'm not liking is we're expected to go and win the conference, but we can't even expect to beat Southampton away. Like, and that to me, I'm sitting here tonight with you doing this stream, and we're sitting here thinking, could Bournemouth turn us over tomorrow? Because West Ham ain't playing well. Now, for me, West Ham should be aiming for top 8 every year. We've got, as I said earlier on, 170 million spent, 60,000 seat at stadium, with the best fans on the planet go home and away. West Ham need to be aiming better than
Yeah.
what they're doing at present. So the question is to you, Lucas, before we round this up: Are are we expecting? Are we not really worried about the Premier League and putting all our hopes and dreams into the conference?
I don't think our supporters expect the Conference League. I think they're really just hoping for a trophy, and then whatever happens
So I'm like,
happens. As like for me, we've talked about this plenty of times before. If you told me right now we'd finish 13th, 14th, but we won the Conference League, got
mm,
Europa next year, I'd probably shake your hand, swipe my hands clean, and
yeah.
move on with my life. But I think we are so much better than that. So like I
But
said,
don't you think
I
that's a
would
lot of
cling.
pressure though, Lucas? Like, because the way I look at this is, yeah, for our West Ham's games that they've played in the group stages of
It
the
is a lot of pressure because we haven't
yeah.
won a lot of trophies.
But what I'm saying is, the way I look at this is, in the group stages of the conference right now, I've expected West Ham to beat these teams. I really
Yeah.
have. Yeah, I've expected. I just look at us and I think, yeah, West Ham should go through these teams. And if West Ham don't, I would be very, very shocked and very, very angry that we're not doing that. Yeah. Now, when you go through the competition, obviously the competition is going to get better. You're going to have a lot of teams from the Europa League
Yeah.
dropping down into the conference. Uh, and for me, I feel that some people are saying, yeah, if we win the conference, like, if we don't win the conference and we finish 14th, that's a terrible season for me.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I'm
Because
saying?
I've been on record saying that I don't think it's a Mickey Mouse Cup by any means because I mean there's
Yeah.
a lot of good teams in there, a lot of reputable and prestigious clubs, and then obviously if Mourinho reacts the way he did winning the Conference League, that just kind of says a lot.
Mm,
If Mourinho didn't think it was some other cup, he wouldn't have reacted the way he did. He was nearly in tears after he won. So to me, that just shows it's better than what people think. But I don't agree with the people that are expecting us to win it because they
mm,
probably think that we should win it, which when someone says we should win it, that's a guarantee. That's 100% we should win. I don't agree with that. Do I
mm.
think Do I think we should? In my opinion, probably, but it's not. Again, it's not 100% guarantee because there are good clubs in there. So, me personally, I would not pin my hopes on winning the Conference League. I do expect us to go far, but I also expect us to, at bare minimum, finish top half because we have
I
the squad, we
I
have the
expect
depth finally.
I expect West Ham, for me, to finish in the top 10. That's the first thing I expect now. Ever since we left the bowling, we've got to move. We've got to move into a new era at West Ham,
And
in my
just like
opinion.
Richard said, all the
Yeah,
people, especially West Ham supporters, because I've seen them say it, all
yeah.
them claiming it's a Mickey Mouse Cup, they'd be celebrating like we won the fucking World Cup
Oh,
again.
mate, if you gave a Newcastle fan right now 7th in the league, and that means they've got conference football, they will take that. Or if you give a Brighton fan that right now, so
Exactly.
I'm not going to look down on that competition. It's not me looking down on the competition. I just worried. This is my own personal thoughts. I'm worried that West Ham could end up getting into a situation where the league form is so bad, West Ham have to recover
Yeah,
from the league
I
situation.
fear that as well. But I think with Moyes,
Yeah,
I as he's shown the past 2 seasons, he has managed both pretty well.
yeah.
And I still have faith that he's going to keep us in contention for both. And I do think it will be like the last 2 seasons where it will kind of come down to the last day
Mm.
where it's either going to decide Europa or conference or European football in general or not. So I think I don't know. To answer your question, I don't agree or side with the fans that are expecting us to win the Conference League and then the Premier League be a wash because I think we're too good. We're too good for that. We spent the
Mm.
money. We have the depth now, and we should be aiming higher. And I do have faith that Moyes will get it done. I'm not going to say we're going to finish in Europe again because if West Ham finish in Europe again 3 seasons in a row, I don't know what I'd do with myself personally. But I do expect us to finish 10th or better, and I do expect at least semifinal of the Conference League.
That's exactly what I expect. One thing before I round it up, one thing I do expect is West Ham to at least get to the semi-final of the competition, like Leicester did last year or whatnot. For me, I do think we can win it, but I'm worried because I look at the league form, and eventually the league is going to have to overpress the cup.
Yeah.
People turn around and say, "Oh, don't worry about the league. We're 11th, rank going down, right? But we're only 2 points off the bottom of the
And
table."
we've just had again, I feel like not a lot of clubs really like can feel our injury luck, but like it's just the same typical West
Yeah,
Ham injury curse every year where it's not that we have like we don't just have 5 injured players. It feels like it's always one position that just gets absolutely wiped out for no
mm,
reason. Like I'm sure we'd be doing a bit better if maybe 2 of our center halves were hurt and not 4.
yeah.
It just always seems to happen every single year where it's one position that just gets absolutely cleaned out with an injury bug. And it's like, what the hell do we do now? Because, again, like with Liverpool, if Paqueta, I'm not saying we were going to win or draw, but if Paqueta plays against Liverpool, we probably do look a bit more creative or ambitious. Because ideally, you don't want to play Souček, Downs, and Rice in the same midfield. There's just nothing there.
See, Kane says here, yeah, I want back us against Villarreal now. Villarreal, ex-Champions League side, and they're maybe a good team drops down from the Europa League.
Exactly.
I
That's why I keep
agree.
going on about it not being a Mickey Mouse Cup. There are so many good teams, so many good clubs left.
Holly has sent me £3. Thank you, Holly.
Oh,
I know you.
cheers.
I know who you are, girl.
Up the
Listen,
Gale,
I'm gonna leave it at that. For me, to round it up, tomorrow's massive. Right, we keep singing we're massive, but tomorrow is massive. It's massive for everyone. The 3 points is massive. To me, it's going to define where we're heading this year. I think if we lose the game or draw the game, we go down. to the level that we're at. If we win the game, we go up. We finish 10th, and the Manchester United game is sort of not like a free hit, but we can go for it against them. I'm nervous about tomorrow, though. I won't lie to you. Like, I'm looking at the betting odds, and I've had a flick through of a few sites that I go on, and they're all saying that the price is too short for West Ham. The way West Ham are playing at the minute, they wouldn't touch West Ham with the money that it is. Like Kane says 4-0, but I've not seen West Ham play a 4-0 victory this season. I could be wrong tomorrow, but we will see what happens tomorrow. Lucas, thank you very much for coming on tonight, mate. I really do appreciate it.
Of course, as always, it's a pleasure.
It is a pleasure from my American compadre. Lucas is out and about in the UK shores. He's back at Gidea Park. He's been literally everywhere where West Ham's played. He's seen some victories. He's seen some losses. He'll be going tomorrow night.
If I go back to Liverpool, I pray to God it's a Goodison and not that library shithole Anfield. I do have to say, I've got to get it off my chest.
Go on, mate.
I was incredibly disappointed with Wednesday. Obviously, not the result, but
yeah,
whoever is saying Anfield has the best atmosphere in England is an absolute liar. And whatever managers, and I can't see it. Obviously, it's against West Ham. It could be a bit better against Arsenal, United, yada, yada, yada. But that atmosphere was, I think my overall experience, I gave it a 4 out of 10. The atmosphere was that bad. They sang twice. They clapped a lot. But my God, what a shithole.
Talk about Liverpool subscribers. He means no offense. Listen, Lucas. So before we do come to them, I need to know more about this. I might as well do it while I'm on live on the stream. So why was it so bad? And like, what is it that you didn't like about it then? Like, so overall experience.
I'll give it this: Anfield, great football ground, great infrastructure. Love the way it's laid out, but the atmosphere was just so disappointing. Like, everyone was sat down. Literally every 15 minutes, there was a PA announcement reminding the supporters to sit down, which is absolutely unreal and hilarious. They literally sang maybe twice. They sang "You Never Walk Alone."
Yeah. And
then they probably didn't sing until about the 80th minute again. They clapped a lot. They really didn't jabber at us.
The way you say that, they clapped a lot. It's like
I'm serious. It was not. I was expecting a lot more because when you go to a place like Anfield, Old Trafford, the Emirates, there's two. When you're going there as a supporter, you're expecting two battles: the battle on the pitch, and the battle between supporters. And let's just say, the battle between the supporters was an absolute landslide. They just didn't deliver. They didn't sing. They didn't chant. They didn't stand. They just clapped.
I'm going to ask you a few questions before we round this up because this is quite funny towards the end of quite a in-depth show. Since you've been over here, what is the best away day that you've had so far on your time?
Well, there's only been 2, and I had a mate of mine text me. Literally the question. He's a Liverpool supporter. He literally asked me, he was like, "Was that the best atmosphere you've been in?" And I was like, "Mate, I'll be dead honest. It was a library." And I'm not over exaggerating. You can literally ask any West Ham supporter that went. And I try to keep it. I like to think I'm not biased at all.
Yeah.
And I was just severely disappointed, and I hate saying it because it sounds extremely biased, but Southampton had a better atmosphere than Anfield, and I feel bad even saying that. And it disappoints me because that is a family club.
Yeah, that is
Liverpool
a family
was
club.
just, again, I feel bad for probably like the diehard Liverpool supporters that can't go because of certain limitations and all that. But like the atmosphere was not good. I could just feel it wasn't Liverpool. It was a typical like Big Six support where just like a whole bunch of different people, everyone's sitting down. They don't know what they're doing, what to do. There's no singing going on. Like I was legit disappointed, and I was gutted because we were all singing our hearts out. We were expecting to go back and forth because I was right next to the home end as well. I was literally right there,
Yeah.
and it was just so piss poor. But so far, Southampton, not by a landslide, but like Southampton support at least were like giving it back to us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'd give Anfield a kind 4 out of 10, and I'd give Southampton like a 5, maybe a 6. But I expect Old Trafford to be an absolute hilarious day. That will probably be my favorite, but I'll try and not jinx it.
No worries, mate. No worries. Listen, as I say, I want to thank Lucas for coming on, expressing his views as he wants to, and talking about his experience at Liverpool.
I just don't
must
want to hear ever again a manager say that's the toughest place to play. Absolute lie. And I don't ever want to hear it's the best atmosphere in the Prem. That is an absolute lie.
Yeah. He's exposed all the Liverpool fans as liars. Listen, please do smash a like on the video and please do subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way. It really helps us all out on here at E20. Before I go, you've got 20 people watching. Hopefully, many more people watch this video. Please do share the video and get it out there so people can view it. On the Christmas giveaway, I'm ending it on Thursday night. Thursday night, we've got Silkenborg at home. I'll be doing an afterthought after that. The cut-off point is done then. So if you want to get in there, comment on this video below at the end of this stream. E20 Xmas. You get entered into a draw. Skamaka shirt, Paqueta shirt is up for you if you enter. It's free entry. You ain't got to pay anything. It's a donation from me for everyone who's subscribed and everyone who's backed me on this channel. So yeah, please do that. Please do smash a like on the video also, as I say. Anyway, that's enough from me and Lucas. Enjoy your Sunday evening. I'll be back tomorrow night with an afterthought player ratings combined. So please do join me then. Anyway, West Ham, tomorrow night, we need 3 points. Boys, you must deliver or else you're going to get slaughtered. All the best.
There it is. I've never found a love like this.